Guys, and welcome to my ranking of all 11 Star Wars movies. I'm joined by my friend Oscar, Mighty Gasman.
Hello.
It's good to have you here. We're going to be ranking all the films from A New Hope all the way to The Rise of Skywalker, including the 2 Star Wars story movies in there. Anyway, let's get started with number 11, The Last Jedi.
Terrible film.
Awful.
Terrible
awful,
film.
Just awful. I mean, it's got some good acting, but I think just Mark Hamill just wasn't written that great. Mark Hamill tries.
No, well, I think Luke's Luke's character arc, actually, throughout the entirety of the films that he's in, just the change you have from the original trilogy and then the sequel trilogy, where he becomes a sort of old man who's sort of
he's better in The Rise of Skywalker, I think. But
I think he's much better in the original trilogy. I think
in the original trilogy he's brilliant.
Absolutely shocking.
I think Adam Driver just plays a baby, and Daisy Ridley is okay, but I think she's just being downplayed. And it is very feministic, this film. I'm not saying that feminism is bad, by the way. I mean, but Kathleen Kennedy, you can clearly see her influence.
Feminism is bad. Of course, as well, with J.J. Abrams not being able to direct
and also
the
with
entire
Admiral
trilogy.
Holdo and just the entire feministic thing. And oh god, the worst thing ever, Rose Tico.
Oh god,
god.
Let's not talk about her. But I think the problem with this film in particular is that J.J. Abrams had a plan for the entire trilogy, which he then couldn't
and
carry
Ryan Johnson
out
effed it up
because of Ryan Johnson.
Anyway,
Ryan Johnson ruined it.
On to number.
There's also another problem with this film, and that's the kids on the.
Oh god, yes, the kids.
Can't stand them.
Right.
That story was great.
On to number 10, Solo. So I thought this one was alright. Ron Howard did okay. I think it just didn't really feel like a Star Wars film because there wasn't anything recognisable. Lando was good. I'll give him.
Lando was good. I mean, Chewbacca was good, but Han Solo, that wasn't Han Solo.
That's not Han Solo.
You can't ever recreate.
And I found all the other guys, especially in it, just being completely.
I will
pointless.
say, I mean, it's useful to have that film just to cover a bit of the backstory of who.
And
how
Han and Chewie met, which is good.
And yeah, that sort of stuff is useful. But then also, I felt another problem with it is because it was so unpopular, and that goes hand in hand with the fact that they led on. Like, they were going to make a Solo 2 almost, with the ending scene, Darth Maul, and Crimson Dawn. They've sort of prepped it for Solo 2, and no one wants a Solo 2
I can remember seeing it, and my mum being confused, like, how did Darth Maul come back? I thought he died at the end of the Phantom Menace.
Well,
I was like, well, no, you need to watch Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
Yeah. That's explained in Clone Wars, and I mean... It's debatable. I mean, I love Darth Maul as a character.
Yeah, he's
only
great.
Because I've got to know him better through Clone Wars.
But I think I mean, his sudden appearance was cool, and I remember watching it being like, whoa.
It was. I think that was honestly the highlight of the film for me.
Yeah.
However,
I just found that
I just found
the characters that weren't recognisable just forgettable. I found Kira, Beckett just completely unnecessary. Anyway, on to number 9. The Phantom Menace.
Episode 1.
So,
I mean, there's a part of this film that's good. I love the Duel of the Fates.
Duel of the Fates is a classic.
Okay, Invasion of Naboo I have a bit of a problem with, purely because...
They land on the other side.
An absolute hatred of Gungans.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the battle droids, I mean, you grow on them. They grow on you. You like them towards the end.
They grow on you.
However, suddenly sort of like...
Yeah.
You make this new trilogy and you're like, well, we need a villain. What are we going to have? What's going to be a serious threat?
I have a problem with how Padme's written in this compared to the next 2 films, because she's a very minor character. Like, she doesn't really have too much screen time. Most of the time, it's Keira Knightley instead. But I think
Queen of Naboo's a bitch.
Stop cracking jokes. But yeah, I like Liam Neeson and I like Ewan McGregor. I think Anakin is just annoying as. Like, I just couldn't get behind that. But yeah, the pod race is good. Anyway, let's go on to number 8. Rise of Skywalker. Now, this one is the first one where our opinions really differ. I liked it.
And
he didn't.
I'm the famous critique of this film.
A lot of fans didn't like it, so
sure.
you're
any of my friends
you're not
watching this will know. This film had potential. It could have been good. I reckon it would have been a lot better if J.J. Abrams had directed the entire trilogy.
Yeah.
However, he didn't. And that meant that he then had to basically clear up, and I kind of feel for it, he had to clear up Ryan Johnson's mess. And I was really happy how he basically gave, like, Rose the minimum amount of screen time he could.
Yeah, that was a welcome change. Lando coming back, that was brilliant.
And I mean, real problem I had with this was Snoke. Okay, so Snoke in the first film was bigged up to be this big, mysterious
big
character,
badass.
the new Emperor. Who's he going to be?
Yeah, we should have touched up on this in The
Who is
Last Jedi.
And at the
Ryan
beginning of the
Johnson
film,
just goes.
well, the beginning of the film, the
kills
problem
him.
you have is that now Snoke is a clone, and Snoke's always been a clone, and a bit of a weird clone at the least, but he's been a clone that the Emperor's had sort of put into power.
While Oscar continues ranting, I need to say that one issue I did have with this, because I actually quite liked this. I felt there was a good bit of fan service in this movie. I didn't like. Actually, I'm going to list two things. I didn't like how. Oh god, I didn't like how when the Death Star managed to survive when they're on Endor. The Death Star's still like in one piece, and they managed to just find the throne room in the middle of nowhere.
Agreed.
That just is not
shocking.
something I can get behind. And also Leia, I just felt like they should have just said Leia died. I mean, she does die in the movie, but
and her death is pretty ridiculous.
It's just.
Let's be real.
I mean, I
Same
thought
as
she was
Luke's.
going to die in The Last Jedi, but Mary Poppins, she flies back into the ship because she's idiotic.
I thought Lando was such an awesome character. He comes back and he's pretty darn useless. Like you see him.
Yeah, but it was good to have him back.
Almost a minute's screen time.
Anyway, is that enough of griping?
No, I've got more.
He's got more.
So
of course he
does.
does.
So the Emperor's back, yeah?
Yeah.
And he's got built under this sort of Sith planet. What was it called again? I can't remember.
Exegol.
Exegol. Under Exegol, he's got a fleet of planet-destroying star destroyers just under the ice. Okay, and I think in the entire of the original trilogy, the entire thing that was the sort of big threat was the one single battle station that could destroy planets. Okay, and that was much bigger than those star destroyers.
Yeah.
The fact that the Emperor, didn't use these planet-destroying star destroyers in the original trilogy, yeah, and does in the sequel trilogy, just shows it's honestly you can just see how little they thought through.
And they just wasted it by hollowing out an entire planet and making it a thing.
I also find another annoying thing about this film is the fact that they spend at the beginning. I felt like the entire film was just them hopping from one location to another, one to the other, one to the other. It was just it was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. True, but it was still kind of nice
and
anyway.
Rey being a Palpatine,
that I admit was
that had been
really
predicted
stupid.
By fans, and I thought that was just too.
How did Palpatine get married? I thought how the fuck did she manage to do that? I would have preferred if Rey. I mean, and also one thing I didn't like is that at the end they go, "What's your name?" Rey Skywalker, and I was like, no. I couldn't get behind it. Anyway, is that enough on the Rise of Skywalker?
I mean, I think it is. My list does go on, but we can
move on. we're gonna move on because we've not got too much time. Next up, number 7, Attack of the Clones. Now this one, a lot of people don't like it. I like it. He likes it too.
Okay, yeah, I like it too, and I've always been a strong battle.
Yeah, now
it's always been.
I find that Hayden Christensen sucks.
Yeah, we all get.
And the rest of the cast,
the romance is dreadful.
Between Anakin and Padme,
Some of the
just
acting
makes me
just too cheesy.
Just go completely.
However, no, I do really love the last half hour of that film.
Yeah,
and no one can change my mind. It's a great ending.
Ewan McGregor is still good.
That film.
And
it kicks off the Clone Wars perfectly, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously the romance is terrible, and as I can't remember, there's some other YouTuber said, Palpatine who wants to kill Padme sends a man who sends a man.
Oscar's phone went off.
Sends a female who sends a droid who sends 2 slugs to kill Padme, and that's quite funny, but just shows sort of the plot's a bit all over the place.
So that's I'm gonna say that I liked it.
But you also got to give the CGI credit because it was
good.
The
CGI was great for the time.
Good for the time. Yeah.
So many people these
days. A lot of
days.
People criticise it.
When I was watching it with a friend, we were staying at his grandparents' house, and his uncle was there, and his uncle said, "Oh, too much CGI." Ugh. And I was like, "Well, it looks great. I mean, it looks better." Than other films that came out in 2002. The Bond film Die Another Day. There's a bit where Bond is on a kind of a hydroplane thing, and he just goes.
We get the iconic line. I hate sand.
I
don't like sand. It's cool.
God. Well, when we get to Revenge of the Sith, we're going to be quoting that a lot. Anyway, number 6.
This is episode.
The Empire Strikes Back. So, kind of split on this one.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I like it. I like parts of it. I hate.
I like. Same thing with me. So
we'll start off. So Battle of Hoth, I love that. That is awesome.
That is
I
great.
enjoy watching that.
Yeah, that's always good.
Again and again.
I
don't enjoy so much the chase, which is basically them getting in the Millennium Falcon.
And getting inside the
and
space
being chased
slug.
by the
That's
Empire and the Space Slug. That's just so boring to watch. And especially, on top of it, there's Yoda and the Dagobah system. I found that unbelievably boring, and that's probably why The Empire Strikes Back is the film I wouldn't watch again, because I just get too bored watching it.
I only find it necessary to watch. A lot of Star Wars fans say it's the best.
I would say, well, there's parts of it. I would say the duel on Bespin.
Yeah,
and
that
the
one
actual
is
sort of Han Solo getting frozen carbon.
And
I am your father. That's amazing. One of the most famous
a lot of people.
scenes in
As a brief tangent, a lot of
history.
people debate how, when we become adults, how are we going to show our children Star Wars? I would show it to them episodically. I would show Star Wars to them episodically.
Yeah. And I'd make them watch every single episode.
Yeah, episodically from The Phantom Menace. I know that sounds like a bit bizarre, but I kind of just find it better not having, we're jumping back all this time. Anyway, that's enough of The Empire Strikes Back. Next up,
Although please do debate your film.
Do debate your opinions
comments.
on the films in the comments. We'd love to see that. Number 5, Force Awakens.
We actually saw this premiere.
We saw this one on the day it came out.
Yeah.
He and I can remember his face when Han Solo died. He
was pretty shocking.
I can remember my mum was shocked as well. And
honestly, it's moments like that. It's moments where they give a classic character like Han Solo. Obviously, they do kill off a lot of the main characters. For the
that was.
But it's a death. That death for Han Solo was. I thought it was.
It was shocking
and when I get shocked at something, I enjoy the film more. Like, I was shocked by it, and as a result, I thought that film came out of the
that
film
happened to
thinking,
me a few
wow.
times with The Rise of Skywalker until I saw him for the first time since I'd seen it, and he said, "Oh, how it was bad," and I thought
a lot of people don't like this film because they think they just tried to copy A New Hope too much.
Yeah,
but I think this is a better remake of New Hope.
I think
this is a better film compared to New Hope.
I like A New Hope more.
And
that's why A New Hope's the reason why when we get to New Hope you'll see it's a bit too low. It's because he doesn't really like it that much. I remember the remake thing. I think people realised it as soon as it came out. Even my dad, because I can remember going back and my dad saying it was just a remake of A New Hope. It was a bit like the Bond film Never Say Never Again being a remake of the Bond film Thunderball. Anyway, I'm going to say what I thought about it. I thought it was good. Good way to continue. I think this is the best film when it comes to Finn. I think Finn is at his best in this film.
And honestly, I was a bit confused in the trailers. I couldn't tell who was going to be the Jedi of this trilogy.
And the poster, as you can see on your screen right now, it's a bit hard to tell because Rey's not carrying a lightsaber and Finn is. But
Starkiller Base is awesome, especially because they've built on the lore of that. That's now a planet where the Jedi.
That's the Ilum
crystals
planet.
Were mined.
Anyway, number 4, The New Hope.
New Hope.
Well, we are split on this one.
And I understand why people like this film.
I love it.
It's the first Star Wars film.
Yeah.
It's what a lot of fans sort of hold nostalgic
value
to this. But it's me, I don't click with that. I don't know.
I like it.
I don't think it's a bad film. I think it's just a meh film.
That's
why I wouldn't put it
as a
high
film, it has flaws, but I just think it's a cinema classic, and I think if I had to show anybody a Star Wars film,
cinema classic,
if you would show anybody a Star Wars film, you'd show them this one, right?
It's the first one,
and
I guess.
It really is just Star Wars, hence the title, just Star Wars. I picked the poster that says Star Wars rather than it saying A New Hope, because that's what it's really known as. But you just think it isn't as good, and I agree. There are some bits I don't like, but I think I get enticed with it all the time, but I wouldn't say it's my favourite. I like a few of them more, but it would, if it was just me doing this, it would be higher. But because I've got him here, we've put it a bit lower. Anyway, in third place, we're into the top 3. Return of the Jedi.
And I mean, okay, I was saying to Hugh that actually maybe we should put Return of the Jedi hand in hand with Empire Strikes Back, because I would never watch one without instantly after finishing one watching the other. I think they go hand in hand. Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, I watched Empire Strikes Back,
and they make for a good story when they go together, because obviously one's ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
and the other sort of follows through.
It was New Year's Eve when I watched them, and I remember we watched them back to back.
I love the beginning with Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, the beginning is great.
Fett, sort of wrap up that
it's
storyline.
not. I think I like A New Hope more, but I certainly think it's a super close second.
Battle of Endor. Ewoks are a bit annoying, but I mean,
not as annoying as the porgs,
comes
though.
to the final duel, that's awesome.
Not as good as the final duel in the Phantom Menace. I find the duels in the original trilogy to be a bit
that's because
basic.
The fighting was
but I like it. It's good. Anyway, in second place, Rogue One. Very happy to see this quite high. Now we
Probably,
both.
I don't know if I can even choose it. It's either Rogue One or Revenge of the Sith are my favourites.
Yeah, I put Rogue One lower. You can probably already tell what number one's going to be. But I just liked it. It was good. It had this film has what Solo doesn't. It has recognisable characters, and it has a pretty okay cast. I actually quite liked most of the characters, and they've become quite big, and it coined a term I've used quite a lot for Star Wars generals, the Mr. Leaderface term with Director Krennic. The big, booming baddie general, and I think Tarkin and Hux have fitted that criteria pretty well.
Yeah. Oh, with this film, obviously it's one of my favourite films. It's because, one of the reasons is because the cinematography in it is amazing.
Yeah.
I think it is one of the
it's got
coolest
really
scenes in Star Wars cinema there's ever been. And the fact that it manages to have that, and it's set in the time of the original trilogy.
Yeah.
So it has basically the nostalgia that we all love within the original trilogy, and crosses it with the cinematics that we have today, and it just makes it amazing.
And also the fact that they got, for Mon Mothma and Bail Organa,
it also shows that sort of, unlike the normal films, where sort of you've got the main character, they live through the film, they sort of win, they save the day. It shows the cost of victory in this film, and it's sort of like all of the rebels, like sort of who go on to Scarif, they all die at the end, and that it shocked me.
Yeah.
But it sort of.
But it's understandable because you don't see him in New Hope.
Mm-hmm. It made me like it so much more. This one was just.
Yeah,
amazing,
it's good. It's good.
And
it was.
The Death Star.
The Death Star.
The creation of the Death Star. And Darth Vader, of course, that awesome scene in the corridor. Just tearing up
that one's become quite famous. I think, unlike Solo, this has gone into the Star Wars lore, I believe. I think it...
Well, they're all... Yeah, it's all part of Star Wars.
If I do a Star Wars marathon, I will definitely 100% put Rogue One into the mix, because it's a direct prequel to A New Hope. So...
I almost call it... Episode 3.5.
Oh! More like episode 3.9 because it's so close. And there's a brilliant YouTube video where they link them. Anyway, on to number 1, Revenge of the Sith. So, boy.
Okay. I mean, a lot of people would still argue that there's cringy acting in this.
Yes, I think there's like one or two. I think there's one or two scenes.
Best CGI of all the prequels.
Best CGI of the prequels, 100%. It was our film. We both of us. Well, he was 04, I'm 05. When it comes to
the duels, I think
the duels,
the fights in this film. You've got Count Dooku versus Anakin Obi-Wan.
You've got Yoda versus Palpatine. You've got Obi-Wan versus Anakin. It's just
you have Obi-Wan versus Grievous. The sort of story,
and it's just
you start off
it's crap
where
action.
You get rid of the entire sort of the main villain of the second film, Attack of the Clones. You get rid of him immediately, and then you've got sort of
Palpatine just rising.
Obi-Wan who goes to sort of take out Grievous, and then you sort of realise, okay, well this is clearly now Palpatine's time to sort of he's going to have to manipulate Anakin. Something's going to happen. Yeah, and then you've got Order 66, which then happens. Which is shocking, or like the Jedi die. You sort of like, well, you kind of, I mean, especially for me, someone who's watched the Clone Wars, the clones grow on you throughout the Clone Wars, and then when it comes to sort of Order 66,
they just go.
You're just like,
yeah. It is the Star Wars film that's been memed the most, but I think it just with the memes.
It's the most popular.
It's the most popular, and I just really enjoyed it. And I find that there's action throughout. Because the thing about Star Wars films is that a lot of the other ones they have a build up where they go to various planets and do all this stuff, and there's maybe a bit of an action scene in the middle, and then it builds up to the end with a big fight at the end, in a way. And
the fact that you get to see how Darth Vader sort of becomes Darth Vader. That's what all the Star Wars films are really about, and that's why Rogue One's not called not part of the actual sort of
because
saga.
Because it's got nothing to do with the Skywalker.
It's the Skywalker saga, and you sort of go through and sort of like shows you the life of Anakin Skywalker.
But they're technically part of the Skywalker saga, the films, because they're both linked into the Skywalker bit. But
yeah, and I mean that's why I hate the sequels because
I think the sequels are okay, but I think The Rise of Skywalker is good. I think The Force Awakens is great, and The Last Jedi is But yeah, I think Revenge of the Sith just really just takes the top marks and eats all the biscuits. I think it's just
Meets all biscuits.
absolutely brilliant. So that's the end of the video now, guys. There will be more James Bond reviews on the way soon.
Please debate.
And please debate your opinions in the comments.
Yeah.
And also, I will link Oscar's channel in the description. I think a lot of Oscar's viewers will be watching this. Anyway, thanks for watching. Peace.